Hey everyone, this is Rob at the Retro Gamer. I was gonna do a video, show you guys the museum that I talk about every once in a while in the other videos. It's actually upstairs at our computer and gaming store in Canton, North Carolina. Gotten this collection. It's taken quite a few years to build, so I'm gonna just zip through it real quick here. Just gonna give you an overview right now, and then I'm gonna kind of go back and show you some of the things that kind of stick out for me. There's our solar system. There are two charge controllers in the inverter. And we got our battery enclosure right there. So again, I'm just gonna zip through this quick, and then I'll kind of go back in a minute here and show you some of the highlights. So you'll probably notice a lot of Tandy Radio Shack computers. The reason for that is I actually grew up with a Radio Shack color computer, and then moved on to Radio Shack laptop and a desktop, and then ended up working there for about 15 years. So I've got a lot of time invested in Radio Shack back in the days from the 80s and 90s. So anyways, we got a wall of movies over here. These are for sale. Some old vintage games, sports games, Xbox, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1, Magnavox, Odyssey, Atari, 5200, some of the Sega and television games. So anyways, I'll go back to the museum items here. There's a vintage telephone down here. Couple of cell phones, bag phones, a light bright sitting on top of some 8 tracks, cassettes, a dial phone, cassette answering system. There's an Intellivision Super Pro system. That's an AM radio sitting on top of a Beta machine. 8-track player, a Sony boombox, reel-to-reel, Fairchild F channel, the Bally Astrocade. This is just pretty much some consoles here. I'm not gonna go. There's a Tandy Vision that's similar to the Intellivision, just made by Radio Shack. I should say sold by Radio Shack. We've got a Super Video Arcade. I believe that's also Telegames. That's a Sears version of the Intellivision. There's a projector down here. I know it's kind of dark. I use LED lights up here. We do that just to kind of keep the machines that are kind of on the white side from yellowing more. Commodore D128, Timex Sinclair, a couple different ones. A Toshiba Libretta 50CT. That's like a little mini laptop back in the day. It was actually one of mine when I was probably in my 20s or 30s. Tomy Tudor computer, the TI-99-4A, the beige one. Brother Power Note, that's actually just a word processor. Apple IIc. This is a handheld brick phone. It was actually my first cell phone, Radio Shack, or Tandy I should say. I think it was like $1 a minute to run this bad guy. Macintosh Classic. And there's a color computer down there, a silver one, and then there's the Dragon. That's the I think the European version of the color computer. These are some machines I picked up at a local gold and silver dealer. They use some type of wax roll to record voice, and you can actually talk back and forth. I've never got them to work. I've not really tried, but I thought they were kind of neat. I picked those up. Quiz Kid. There's a Odyssey. Atari 2600. TurboGrafx. There's a Atari 600 XL. Commodore VIC-20. Atari 800. There's the 800 XL down here. Again, it's getting kind of dark over here. Atari palm top computer back there, if you can make that out. Again, sorry, it's kind of dark here. Here's a ColecoVision. And down here I've got the Atom computer, Tandy computer. There's an Osborne. It's a 486 A-Open computer. Some Titan Epson computer. There's the Commodore PET, the 8000 series. That's the first one with the cassette tape built into it. And this, some old laptops up here. I've got some processors from vintage computers up on this shelf. Books and manuals. I got tons of calculators. I also like to collect those. Casio calculators, Commodore calculators, Texas Instruments. I just think they're kind of cool, especially the fluorescent and the red LED displays. There's a Tandy Casio PDA. There's a Casio version right there. This was my first calculator, the Casio. There's a Speak and Spells down here. The first Sony Walkman CD player. That was actually my first one. A couple vintage hard drives. There's an Apple Message Pad 130 Alfie robot. There's the Amiga 500. Commodore 64, Commodore PET, 4032. There's a calculator that my grandma used to have. That was a Commodore one. That's one of my favorite calculators. Tandy laptop. That was my first laptop I've ever owned. Radio Shack color computer. Commodore Plus 4. There's the Radio Shack Model 1. That actually doesn't work. I don't know if it's the monitor or the computer, but I'm going to try to get that figured out one day. There's a European version of an NES. 2XL robot. He used to use 8-track tapes. Push the buttons to answer the questions. Some old digital cameras. There's the Sony digital camera floppy. I use a floppy disk for storage. More vintage game. There's a talking wristwatch right there. Lynx, Sega Nomad. Some old cell phones, flip phones, Odyssey games. There's another Commodore calculator. There's a Casio Pocket TV. We've got some of the old Motorola Razor phones down here. This is the Vectrix, of course. I do have the, I think it's, I can't remember how many games are in it, but it's a cartridge that has a bunch of different games, so you don't have to buy all the separate ones. Mattel Aquarius. Texas Instruments TI-99 4A. I'm still looking for the original 4. There's the Panasonic computer. They didn't use Microsoft Basic like a lot of the ones back then. They actually used their own version of Basic called Junior Basic. Here's a first edition Radio Shack color computer running Dungeons of Daggeroth. That was my favorite game. Commodore 64C. Emerson Arcadia. I already showed you the solar items. There's a Apple IIe computer. This is a old record player, kids record player with some records, and then I also have an old stereo with a turntable inside. It actually works. It's pretty cool. Atari XE computer, and these are just kind of miscellaneous items here. Kind of fun stuff back in the day. This is a Tandy mouse. They actually, Radio Shack's coming out with the Tandy line again, so it's going to be interesting to see. I talked to a manager in, I think it was the Asheville store, and he said they're actually going to be bringing back Tandy, the name brand, and Realistic, so we'll see what happens with that. 1000 Tandy RL, that was a home-based computer marketed to the home user. 1000 SX computer. This one actually came with a compact flash adapter, to IDE adapter I should say, and that's how I kind of learned about that technology, and that's why I'm using that in the DOS box computers I'm building now. Tandy Sensation, probably one of the coolest computers Tandy came out with. The first CD-ROM based multimedia computer, had a built-in encyclopedia. Just really neat machine. That was a 486 computer. There's the TRS-80 MC10. A couple scientific calculator, databank calculators, Darth Vader mouse. 1000 TX. I got a Model 4 up here. Got the Coleco Pac-Man game, VTech IQ. This computer is actually a 46 built-in all-in-one keyboard. Kind of unique item there. Doesn't work, but it's neat. 1000 HX. Here's the Model 4P. That's the portable version of the Model 4. Another 1000 SX, and then I got a 2500 SX20 here. The Radio Shack color computer with the melted keys. It's kind of a different keyboard. Laser personal computer. I got a Commodore 16. The Mattel Aquarius. And they actually made another Aquarius or a machine look just like it, but it wasn't made by Mattel. But I guess they had a problem selling them, so they had to rebrand it and try to move it through other channels. Texas Instruments Compact Computer 40. Timex Sinclair 2068. Got the box for that one. Tandy 200. There's an Apple eMate 300. Model 3. It's a TRS-80. This is a Tandy laptop 1100, and there's actually a solar cigarette lighter up here. So I don't know, I'm not smoking like I used to back in high school days, but I want to use it someday just to check it out. So Tandy TL2, that's a 286 computer. XL2, another 286 computer. This is a little mini video. I'm sorry, it looks like a video camera made by Sony, but it actually has a micro cassette in it. So it's kind of a cool thing I picked up. Tandy cell phone, brand new in the box back there. You can see that. Tandy 600 laptop. Then I got the Commodore 64 portable version here. Got some various joystick controllers, Action Max, the old Xbox, and then there's some Darth Vader 2600 and the regular 2600, and then the Atari 5200. This Victrola was my dad's, and I still have it here. I don't think it works, but it looks pretty cool. And then we got some Nintendo games, Atari 2600, and then the Sega games. So anyways, that's it for the museum up here. I appreciate you watching. If you like it, do a thumbs up please, and subscribe to our channels. I'd appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.